Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota, but we're virtual only. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. What we try to do is help you understand the thought behind the thought. What's going on? We're solving Revelation 17 today. So what's going on with these weird little, we call it wisdom thoughts in the Bible, Sophia? And so we're going to go through that today and cover the Trump prophecies that seem to be occurring. Now, these are not thus saith the Lord. These are Joelisms. I'm Joel Blackford, and I'm telling you, these things seem logical. They seem to be what's going to occur. And so we'll just go through these prophecies and try to align things up and do the best we can do. So Trump inauguration starts tomorrow, January 20th. I'm recording this late Sunday night. And so it's inauguration day. Trump is going to be huge, as he would state, huge without the H. So he's choosing interesting people. Pam Bondi as the Attorney General, the nice lady from South Dakota, Kristi Noem, and other interesting people. Marco Rubio from Florida. He's going to have a lot of Floridians on the cabinet. So it'll be interesting to watch what he does. It's part of prophecy, people. The Trump doctrine will be huge going forward. And many people, including the economists, think he's going to destroy the earth. Well, he's going to change things. And so my friend John Haller, by the way, he's the best news source out there for what's going on in the world. I just watched him today. We were laughing about one of the slides that I took from him. And I'll cite him, don't worry. In fact, I'm citing him right here. The storm before the storm. He is correct. So what I'm going to go through in my own terms is Trump is going to preach peace, 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 profit, 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 and tariff, tariff, tariff until the world falls apart. And that's unfortunately how it's going to happen. So we'll see if that's prophetic or not. Let's cover it. Yes, he is King Trump, and I'll state why. We're trying to cover the Bible properly, Revelation 17, give you prophecy, a bunch of prophecies today, and then give you the news. So let's go through. This is from Jason A., his YouTube channel. It's like he's the king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God. But American Jews don't know him or like him. They don't even know what they're doing or saying anymore. It makes no sense, but that's okay. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's good for whatever. And this is back in 2019. So Trump, I'm the chosen one to confront China on trade, retweets a quote likening him to the second coming of God from CNN. Once again, there it is again. So CNN, it's interesting to watch this, people. So Trump is part of this peace process. Now, we've had peace, relative peace, since 1945, when that man, I can't even state his name anymore, but you know who he is. It starts with an H. So his time frame ended, that Third Reich, and now we will be ending that peace again. We'll go into a short peace time, and then we'll go into World War III after that. So at least we've got a few months, maybe years. But anyway, there's that 80-year time frame, 70 to 80. It's Psalm 90:10. A man can be given 70 or maybe 80 years. We're at that extent. And so we'll probably go into another time of peace, but it'll be different. You won't have Vietnam wars or Afghanistan or any of those types of wars, or Russia, Ukraine for that matter. You'll have an odd peace that will affect Israel going forward here with peace in charge. And that's what I think he's going to do. So what I'm getting in with the peace is that this is from a 90-year-old Norwegian woman, and I'm going to give you a bunch of prophecies today from 1968. And what she said is there are 4 waves coming. First, before Jesus comes and the Third World War breaks out, there will be a détente. I don't know how she knew détente in 1968. Maybe Nixon was talking about it like we've never had before. There will be peace between the superpowers in the East and the West, and there will be a long peace. It's been about 80 years, people. Lukewarmness of Christians. Oh, we're seeing that. Moral disintegration of society. Absolutely, we're seeing that. People from poor countries will stream into Europe and into the United States. That didn't make sense in 1968. It's making sense now. It is the fourth horseman. There are 4 plagues in the fourth horseman. The first one is a Ramphea. It's the judgment sword. And according to rabbis from thousands of years ago, it is invasions. Okay, and so that's part of the fourth horseman. Jesus will come and the Third World War will break out. All of this that I've seen before is only child's play compared to this one, and it will be ended with a nuclear atomic bomb. The air will be so polluted that one cannot draw one's breath. It will cover several continents, America, Japan, Australia, and the wealthy nations. The water will be ruined, contaminated. We will no longer till the soil. The result will be that only a remnant will remain. The remnant in the wealthy countries will try to flee to the poor countries that have already come here, and now the wealthy will come to their countries, but they will be hard on us as we were on them. Oh boy. So that's an accurate prophecy in many ways. You could read this anytime you want to. Just type the 1968 prophecy by a 90-year-old woman in Norway into the search bar and you'll see it. Once again, Trump is selling peace, 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 okay, through the King Trump's strength. And I'll explain the king part in a minute here. Don't worry, that's a later slide. 10 conflicts to watch in 2025. Syria is part of Turkey Magog, okay? And so the caliphate is forming, and that's going to be Turkey leading it and Erdogan. But I believe that the number 44 will be a part of this. So this is from the crisis group. They've listed off the 10: Syria, Sudan, Ukraine, European security. That one's ending. That you'll see it end pretty quick here. Israel, Palestine, that seems to be ending also. Iran will continue on. That's part of the Magog situation. They're Persia in that Ezekiel 38-39 prophecy. But Turkey will lead this out like the caliphate has always done from 1517 to 1917. Haiti's involved in it too. U.S., Mexico, Myanmar, North Korea, or the Korean Peninsula, North Korea especially, China, U.S. Peace, peace, peace. Trump is going to knock these out like rabbits eating grass. Okay, it's going to happen fast, and just watch for it. So these are conflicts to watch, but Trump is going to knock them out fast through this year. So you'll see Ukraine's war end. Okay, and the EU is already starting on the left-hand side to cancel $3 billion in new Ukraine aid. The end is here, and this is from Hal Turner. I don't like Hal Turner, but it's a good news report. It's accurate. Okay, so blame Obama, Merkel, and Mitterrand from 2014 for saying to Putin, hey, we're going to give you peace. Don't worry, we're not going to send any weapons into Ukraine. We're not going to put any factories, if you know what I mean, into Ukraine that work with genetic stuff and biolabs. So blame them. They lied. They overtly stated that they lied. Merkel, about 2 years ago, said, yeah, we lied to him. And Mitterrand said the same thing. So we know that from 2014. And we know Obama lies all the time. Anyway, 44. So hit the EU with sanctions if they resurrect the Ukraine war. That's what Trump will do. Okay, that's his nature. It's going to be sanction, sanction, sanction until, or whatever tariffs, until Trump gets his way. He knows how to bully pulpit this. So on the right-hand side, you can expect Putin and Trump to get along because they always have in the past. They're both very good at what they do. So threaten more sanctions to motivate peace. And so Trump's going to use the bully pulpit. Get used to it. Okay, one more thing. So basically peace, and he is going to defund Ukraine, and he's going to kick this bully to the curb, the Ukrainian idiot that's caused all of these problems. I don't know. I don't understand why we have so many people in America that want war. They're neocons. I don't understand. They're on both sides too. Okay, so basically what I'm getting at is peace, 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 and Putin is going to want that too, and he wants to be back in the world government. He wants to have a say in things. But Trump is going to sanction people. He's going to put up tariffs and increase tariffs, and it's going to kill the other nations. So the second thing that he's going to work on after peace is drill, baby, drill. Cheap energy. He knows that's how you jumpstart an economy. The cheaper the energy, the cheaper everything else, and the better we get to work, and the more we get to keep in our pockets. Energy is critical, getting people to work. And so Biden did not do a very good job on this. So the Biden people invested into windmills and solar panels covered with snow. And so you need oil, you need cheap energy. And so Trump's going to work on that. And Trump's likely first moves on U.S. energy policy from Reuters, January 13th, he's going to do it, unleashing American energy. He's going to kick-start it. And he's got the types of guys in the Oval Office with him and his cabinet that are going to get it done. Now, in the middle here, Trump could order the U.S. to withdraw from the 2015 Paris Agreement, an international pact to fight climate change and limit the rise in global temperatures by slashing fossil fuel-related emissions. Trump withdrew the U.S. during his first term, and transition sources have said he wants to do it again. He will. He'll drill, baby, drill. That's his second point. And he knows he's going to have to stop the stupidity that we've done in the past, which is rewarding things that don't benefit our country or anyone at all. Cheap energy. Okay, so moving forward. Number 3, invest in growth opportunities, peace things, okay? It'll appear to be peace, but it's just profiteering off peace. So there's money to be made off warmongering, and there's money to be made off peace. So we see Jared Kushner and Ivanka not willing to be involved directly in the Trump administration this time. They're going to make money. He's a billionaire, and he wants to become okay, so there's a joke. I heard it stated many, many years ago. Hey, Mr. Billionaire, can you make me a millionaire? I hear that you've done that in the past. And the billionaire looks at you and he says, yes, I've made many people millionaires, but they were billionaires. So this is their game. They want to increase their wealth, and they don't care who they hurt. They don't care. That's why God set up a Jubilee system and a Shemitah system to rectify that problem of these people becoming multi-billionaires. So Jared Kushner set to double take in the leading Israeli financial firm. That is also another prophecy. I'm not saying that I'm prophesying. I'm saying logic prophesies that if he's investing into Israeli financial firms, that means peace is coming to Israel. That means he knows through his Abraham Accords that this is a wise investment, because billionaires don't invest to lose money. Okay, so this is January 15th of 2025. It's fresh stuff. Jared Kushner set to double his investment stake in Israel's leading financial firms, one of them. His father-in-law, Donald Trump, will return to the White House. Israeli regulators have allowed Kushner's affinity partners to buy an additional 4.95% of Phoenix Financial. Very interesting. So he's up to 10% of the company. And so there will be peace, but there will be profiteering. That's what they do. That's just the deal. Okay. And when you get to be a billionaire, you'll understand that you're competing against other billionaires for bragging rights, and they don't like to lose. If you gamble against them, you're going to lose, because they always win. They'll cheat. They don't care. They'll win. So just number 3 is invest in growth opportunities, peace, and profiteering. Number 3. Okay, number 5. I'm jumping over because there will be gaps. I'm not going to figure it all out. But number 5, communists will start fighting against the government. So this is from Dmitry Duduman. He was a prophet during the 1980s. And he lived through the 90s, but most of his best work was in the 80s. Michael Boldea is his grandson. Wonderful man, wonderful. And in some ways, I'm kind of quoting him too. But the main thing is that there will be this fighting occurring in America. He said, remember this, Dmitry. The Russian spies have discovered where the nuclear warehouses are in America. When Americans will think that it is peace and safety, that's what's coming, okay? Peace and prosperity and safety from the middle of the country, some of the people will start fighting against, I believe, the Trump's government. That's my comment there, okay? The brackets. Trump's government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the ocean, from Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico, he told me 2 other countries, but I didn't remember what they were. They will bomb the nuclear warehouses. When they explode, America will burn. So the bottom line is that you'll have this weird peace thing, and then you'll have the communists from the center of the country in America, according to Dmitry, and he's been correct on everything else, that they're going to start bombing. Okay, so just get used to that. That's one of those things that's going to come as you hear peace and safety, peace and safety. Okay. Okay, so let's read some Wilkerson. This is compiled by Don, my friend, and Don just does a wonderful job of compiling. So let's read on the left-hand side from Ezekiel, and then actually, you know what? I'm going to wait and read that down below on the right-hand side, but I want you to read in the yellow on the left. The Great Holocaust follows an economic collapse in America. The enemy will make its move when we are weak and helpless. So I'm reconciling Duduman with Wilkerson. So on the right-hand side, Wilkerson said the economic holocaust happens and then the Civil War. So that's interesting. So I don't know how that all squares out. I believe it'll occur during the Trump timeframe. Here's what here he is saying that during that time, as Dudeman said, we will be nuked. Okay, so and then from Ezekiel 14 down below, for everyone, whether from the house of Israel or a foreigner living in Israel who separates himself from me and takes his idols into his heart, thus setting in front of himself the stumbling block that leads to sin. For here is what Adonai Elohim says: even if I inflict my 4 dreadful judgments on Jerusalem, sword, which is the Ramphea there, it is in there in the Septuagint, famine, limo, wild animals, technically that would be therion, and then plagues would be thanatos. To eliminate both its humans and its animals, there will be left a remnant in it to be brought out. Do you see that happening from that 1968 lady? Okay. So then down below, if you want to read it, God goes with his people through the fire. And so we're going to go into a fiery holocaust. It's biblical. It's there throughout the Bible. Fiery holocaust, Isaiah, Malachi, into the apostles, we'll say. Okay, so the bottom line is the fiery judgments are coming. The 4 plagues are listed in the 4th seal, the 4th horseman, and they match up exactly in the Septuagint with what you're reading here in Ezekiel 14. So just keep in mind, when the communists start to rise in the center of the country and start to cause problems. So he thinks the financial holocaust occurs first. Interesting. Number 6, worldwide fires, judgment, mercy, things like that. So the fires are part of God's judgment, but there's mercy in it. These are love taps so far, and they don't have to be that much worse than this. We know fire will occur as we get to the end, but these fires right now are just God saying, please repent. So LA bracing for more catastrophic wildfires as forecasters warn of 100-mile-per-hour winds, sparking extreme fire danger again. And I'm sorry I didn't cite that this is Mail Online, but you can kind of read it in there. It's Mail Online. Okay, so bottom line is Los Angeles is bracing itself for more catastrophic wildfires this week as weather forecasters predict the return of gusting Santa Ana, not the Diablo winds, but it's Santa Ana winds of up to 100 miles per hour. And so we've already seen this 2 times in 2 weeks prior to this. Now it'll be the 3rd week. These are God's waves of judgment per Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 28. If you don't repent, I'll bring it again. And it'll be worse. So, fire weather watch, yes. Monday through Thursday of this week. Okay, so Monday is the day that Trump is inaugurated. There comes the winds, okay? And we anticipate another major event as the Santa Ana winds pick up this weekend, bringing with them critical fire hazard danger, okay? 80 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, extreme fire danger. That's what's coming. Peak on Wednesday. Wow. Okay, number 7. Jared Kushner and Donald J. Trump aim to build an Abraham Accords. This is going to occur this year, people. Okay, Jared's not in the administration because he can work on it better outside and make more money off it too. So once again, it's peace, 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 but it's profit, profit, profit. Okay, so this is from November 15th of 2024. There isn't much being published now, and Jared is very close friends with Elon too. So it's all kind of weird. This is Arutz Sheva, and so basically CNN is also talking about it too. Central to this will be Jared Kushner working kind of on his own, but with the Middle East. And Jared is close friends with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. So watch for his uncle to die and MBS to take over, and then you'll probably see the Abraham Accords billed by 10, maybe 14 nations, and it will be powerful. And so Kushner will make money off that too. So that's probably why he's investing in that Israeli financial company. Very intriguing. I mean, he's a smart guy, and he just knows the inside. So what is Trump trying to accomplish then? And I believe God wants Trump to be a Cyrus, which is Isaiah 45, 1, to be a Cyrus in this case. Bring peace, some kind of a short-term peace, but a peace, and then start the red heifer sacrifices and restart the holy. That's what I think he's anointed to do. He is a Meshach, not a Mashiach. Trump is not the false Messiah either. He is just a guy that's going to accomplish things. I can't say if he's totally in love with Yeshua or not. It doesn't matter. He's doing what God wants him to do because Trump does what Trump does. And in this case, God reconciles it, that it'll work out. So the false prophet, you'll see him jump up before the Antichrist. So number 9 is the false prophet. I believe it's Pope Francis. He might still die. You never know. He's old, but it needs to get going pretty quick here. And you can see Biden punching him with his forehead down below. That's so weird. So I used to be the Pope of the Catholic Church when I was growing up in Scranton with Mother Teresa. True story, man. No joke. That's a joke. It's not real. But so the Pope is involved in these things. And so he seems to be the second piece. That's Revelation 13. Sin, sin, sin. He's going to sin even more. Get used to it. Poor Catholics. The pro-life Catholics that I love so dearly, they have to deal with him. He's a horrible pope. So, but also we have to deal with big Eva, evangelicals, and big charismaniacs. They're going to fall too. You're starting to see them fall in the last year. They're going to fall even more. They're going to be propped up and hold on to the coattails of Trump, and then he's going to bash them as things fall apart in the world. So Trump's coattails will carry big religiosity to its death. Okay, sin, sin, sin. Jerry Falwell Jr. has already fallen based off sexual sins. What a disgusting man. And I don't like Jeffress at all because he's so political. I mean, he's over the top. It's all, his God is McMoney. And Paula White is problematic. These other guys are problematic. I mean, they would sell their souls to Pope Francis and the Satan just to be a big name. So, disgusting. So watch for this to happen. Trump is going to jump up to the top, and they're going to follow him up, and then they're going to, they're like the false prophets of Baal. Okay, so get ready for it on both sides, Big Eva and big charismaniacs. Big Eva's got problems too. They've set up their own gods too. Calvinism is a god too. So getting back to Wilkerson and prophecies and things like that, 1973, the vision prophecy, David Wilkerson. I believe that what you're going to see is in Wilkerson's words first, then I'm adding my comments. Number 14, I see total economic confusion striking Europe. That's in the book. In the videos, it's Germany first, then affecting Japan, then the United States, Canada, and all other nations shortly thereafter. I think it's via tariff. Trump is going to tariff the poor world and just destroy the economies of the world through tariffs and other things like that. So he'll be selling peace, but tariffs, and you're going to see the confusion is already there in Germany. They're ready to fall. Okay, Japan's got issues, tons of issues. The United States will be affected later on, so just get ready for it. And I think it's going to be the tariff policies and other policies that Trump does. And also, it's just the fact that we've got inflation coming. It's happening. So let's talk about the economics of this. So this is Martin Armstrong on USA Watchdog, which is Greg Hunter. And so Martin, I love Martin. So you can read it in the small print, but it's printed off to the right-hand side. Our computer has been projecting that we are going into a depression in some areas, a recession in other areas. The depression most likely in Europe and a recession in the United States. See how it is? Depression Europe. That's Wilkerson. Recession in the U.S., that's later on. That's Wilkerson, okay? I'm sorry, Trump is not going to have a blissful administration, and he's not going to prevent the economic decline. He can't stop what's going on. He could do the cheap oil and delay it a little bit, but just for us. And then Craig Hemke on Greg Hunter's show, USA Watchdog, our national debt could track to another $2 trillion really quickly here. But I'm blanking on her name right now. I can see her face. She runs our Fed Reserve, Janet, not Reno, the other Janet. So anyway, she's saying, "Oh, we're already out of money," and I don't know how that happened. Well, they're idiots. So if the economy really is sliding into recession and they can't get the budget under control because of the liquidity that is going to be needed to control interest rates, the Fed will be talking openly about yield curve control. We're in trouble, people. Hemke's talking correctly. Okay, so that's January 11th. All from Greg Hunter. Good stuff. I love Martin Armstrong, and I love Charles Nenner too. So getting back to Wilkerson, it all kind of fits between Dudeman, Wilkerson, and what you're seeing from the pundits. Normal times will disappear, and there will appear the addict, the prostitute, the homosexual, the thief, the street gang killer. The Bible predicts a day of total terrorism and violence, immorality of unbelievable dimensions. Sounds like the 1968 lady, too. Will surround Christians and vex their souls almost to death. The Satan will attempt to discredit and destroy the work of the Holy Spirit. That's coming. That's coming because of our false charismaniacs, okay? Whole nations will follow philosophies of godless rebellion and false religious cults. The world is going to maneuver itself into a position of lawlessness and recklessness that can only be brought together by a super dictator, the Antichrist, who lays claim to supernatural powers. That's coming, people, and it's called Dunamis, Semeion, and Teras in 2 Thessalonians 2. So just get ready for it. It's coming. Okay, that's once again the vision from Wilkerson. Very interesting. It's coming. It's coming. You know it's coming. It's biblical too. So King Charles is going to die. I'm predicting probably this year, and so he will not be the Antichrist. The little horn is usually ascribed to being the Antichrist. That's from Daniel, and so I'm saying Trump. And I'm listing it as number 99. You're seeing I'm not going in order. I'm just listing them out and giving them numbers. But basically, this year, you will know that Trump is not the Antichrist, and especially by probably next year. Trump won't last the whole way through. So out of them came a little, it's a Karen, and I'm blanking on the Hebrew word for little there, but it's not talit. So which grew extremely big in the directions of the south and east, and in the direction of the glory. Okay, that's an important word to keep in mind. Okay, that Israel and Jerusalem will be part of the glory at that point in time. It grew so great that it reached the Zavah, which is usually like angels and warriors up in heaven, of heaven. Yeah. And it sounds like Revelation 12 when you have that weird stuff going on with the angels of heaven. It hurled some of that Zavah army and the stars. That's angel-like when you say Zava and the Kokavim, which are stars, to the ground and trampled on them. Yes, it even considered itself as great as the Tsar, the prince of the Zava, the prince, that would be Michael of the Zava, okay? The Tamid, those are the morning, afternoon, Erev Voker offerings that are, I can't find a case where they're unholy. Okay, they would be holy, and it's also going to be stated that way. So, haram, haram, proudly lifted. So, basically, this person will be proudly lifting the Tamid offerings, ceasing them. Okay, and the place of the Kadosho, his holy. So when I have friends, unfortunately, that they're telling me, "Oh no, these offerings are going to be unholy. This is the Antichrist type system." No, it's going to be his holy was thrown down. These are his holy offerings through Pasha. So that's rebellious sins. The Zava, the host, the warrior angels, was put in its power along with the Tamid. It flung Emet, truth, to the ground as it acted and prospered. So that's Daniel 8, 9 through 12. So you can see this doesn't fit Trump at all. He wouldn't do those things. He's going to start the offerings, which will be holy. They will be his holiness from God in terms of that process. And through Pasha, at some point in time, the Antichrist will bring the rebellious sins, the Zava, those fallen angels, was put in its power along with the Tamid. Okay, so it's just interesting. It's very complex. I'd rather read it in the Hebrew than in the English. But basically, Trump's not your Antichrist. He's not the little horn. Deal with it. This is from Bishop Mari Emanuel. He's an Assyrian Australian leader of the Good Shepherd Church in Wakeley, New South Wales. And he says, Trump is the last president. Just get used to it. I think he's accurate. That's his prophecy. That's from TikTok. Can you even watch TikTok now? So I think he's accurate. I think Trump is. I think he's the seventh. I'll give you the verses in a minute here. So now we're into the Hebrew version of Revelation with some Greek next to it on the right-hand side in some cases. But it's from Justin Jans van Brensburg. I love this translation. It helped me to really get things down, comparing and contrasting the Hebrew and the Greek. And so one time during the summer, I was reading this 6-8 months ago, and a pastor walked by and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm reading Hebrew and Greek for Revelation." He said, "That's so cool. I wish I could do that." And he had to take off because he was busy with grandkids, but he thought it was so cool, and it was, I was just sitting there on the park bench by the lake, with the cool breezes, just reading Hebrew and Greek Revelation and comparing and contrasting. So let's read it on the left-hand side. Then one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and spoke with me and said, "Come, and you will be shown the judgment of the great harlot who sits over much waters." Okay, so we'll learn later on in verse 15 that much waters is going to be many peoples. Okay, and so that's Revelation 17:1. The great harlot. Okay, so who's the great harlot? Well, let's work on that. The woman, that harlot, is the UN, which curses Israel with the tacit blessings of our kings. She sits on many waters in New York City, which is the waters of the peoples coming, the nations coming in to the UN in New York City to curse Israel all the time. Who has the nuclear power of life and death for the world since 1945? It's the U.S. So that makes us, and according to Dmitry Duduman, we are Revelation 17. Their leader has been the king of the world since 1945. But what changed was 1967, when the nukes were able to fly better and get to anywhere in the world. And so once the nukes could fly, that's when we started the clock of the presidents, the kings, the mountains, the heads. And I'll show you the verses. Another clock started in 1967, and it started the Jerusalem and the Temple Mount clock also. It's ticking. Okay, so the great whore, I'm arguing it's the UN in New York City. It all works out that way. But it's metaphoric. I know that. So keep in mind, according to me, the Antichrist mom loves lilies, and that's actually Rebecca Sterling from many, many years ago. So let's read on the left-hand side, with whom the kings of the earth commit adultery, and those whom she makes drunk with her wine, that's the UN. So he brought me into the wilderness, and I saw the woman who sat on the animal, whose appearance was like the appearance of lilies. And yeah, this is the Hebrew. Yeah, lilies. And was full of names of reproach, and he had 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was clothed in red garments, that's Adama, and so that is reddish, it's but earthy reddish, with the appearance of lilies. So there's lilies twice in the Hebrew. And upon her there was much gold and goodly stones and gems, and there was a golden cup in her hand, full of uncleanness, and that would be the UN. And on her forehead was written the name of the secret of the great city Babylon, the mother of harlots and uncleanness of the earth. And I saw the woman drank of the blood of the set apart ones. The United Nations does that. It kills off the believers. It just does. That's their nature. That's why it fits perfectly. And of the blood of the testimony of Yeshua, because they always curse Yeshua. And I had a great amazement when I saw her, and there's more coming. Guillotines are coming. Okay, so basically that's Revelation 17, 2 through 6. And we move forward then into verse 7. But the messenger said to me, "Because of what do you have amazement? I want to tell you the secret of the woman and the animal which she sits upon, because of what he has 7 heads and 10 horns." Okay, so the beast, the animal, it has these 7 heads and 10 horns. So what are the 7 heads? What are the 10 horns? Let's work on it. So I'm arguing that it's the 7 U.S. presidents since 1967-69, which would be Nixon, Ford is 1. Carter's number 2. Reagan is number 3. Bush Sr. and Jr. are number 4. Clinton is number 5. 6 is Biden. They're together. Trust me, Biden didn't run anything. Number 7 is Trump. He's the 7th, okay? The 8th will come from the 7. And the 10 horns are 10 big tech billionaires that was carrying her. That's how I interpret this. But we'll explain it to you in a minute. You'll see the Sophia angle on this, which is it takes wisdom to interpret this. Maybe I got it right. Maybe I didn't. I had help from Dudeman, obviously. I'm not that smart. The animal that you saw was, but is not, and will come again from the deep, from the Tehom, but he will go to Sheol. Then the men of the earth will be amazed about him, and they will see the animal who was, but is not, although he is. Okay, on the right-hand side, then, goes to the abyss, saw the beast. So it's a conundrum. It's interesting for 17:8, and we're starting to see that occur. Then King Trump, according to how I read this, will be here a little time. Then it's beast time. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the right-hand side now, just because the Greek is so much better in terms of the mind, which is a physical mind, versus so nous is physical mind. Godome seems more like computer programming. You could read it as mind in both cases, but we're going to go back to the Greek. So this calls for a nous, which is your physical brain, with Sophia, with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. I'm arguing Mount Rushmore, on which the woman is sitting. They are also 7. 5 have fallen. 1 is, and I'm saying that's Biden. And the second term is not yet. When he does come, he must for a little time. That's Trump, not for a long time. The beast, which once was and now is the 8th, the Antichrist, and it comes from the 7 U.S. presidents, and goes to Sheol, and the 10 horns, big tech, that thou sawest are 10 something, who a kingdom did not yet receive. Big tech has no lands, no kingdoms. See it? But authority as hosts in the Greek, which means similar to kings. So they're not kings, they're like kings. Okay? The same hour do receive with the beast. These have one mind, gnome, computer programming, and their own power and authority to the beast. They shall give over. These are the lambs. These with the lamb shall make war, and the lamb shall overcome them. Revelation 17, 9 through 14. So what I'm getting at is, it's a conundrum. It's supposed to be a conundrum. You're supposed to use your brain for this, which is your nous, but the computer programming answers this as we switch in mind from nous to gnome, and we have to reconcile 7 heads. Who puts their heads of presidents on mountains, 7 mountains, and 7 kings? That's the United States, guys. That's it. We're the only ones that have Mount Rushmore. The only ones. Okay, so continuing on, this is from Haller. Haller's so smart, and he just keeps on researching all the time. So he answers the question of what's going on here. So if I'm discerning Dudaman properly, America is Revelation 17 and 18. Also Jeremiah 50, 51 per Dudaman. My assumption is that only one nation places their kings when they have, and these men have the ultimate capability to nuke the earth. They put their heads on the mountains, Mount Rushmore. And so I listed off the 7 already, and then the 8th. And so it's America. It has to be. And then the 10 horns operate as billionaire global tech kings without lands and titles, but with ruin in similar ways. As you can see on the right-hand side, big tech firms now act like nation states, says Sorrell. So Haller provided the slide on the left-hand side. He did not agree with me on how I am interpreting this. He thinks it's intriguing. He loves to listen to my stuff, but he's on his own. He's just saying there's something about the big tech firms that seem to be their nations now. So you don't need to think about King Charles III as being the guy. You think about the big tech firms. They're the power brokers. Okay, so thank you, John, for showing that slide on the left-hand side. That's my interpretation on the right. He does not agree with me on the interpretation. So continuing on, finishing out Revelation 17. For he is the Adon, the Lord of the Adonim, the King of kings, and with him are the chosen ones and the believing ones. Cool. Okay, and he said to me, the waters which you saw, which the harlot sits over, are the peoples and crowds and nations. So you see the answer to verse 1, which is it's the people. So the waters that you saw where the whore is sitting are the peoples, the crowds, the nations, the languages. I'm arguing at the United Nations. Almost finishing out 17 now. So, and the UN's constantly cursing. So, as for the 10 horns you saw in the beast, therein number 8, I'm reading on the right. They will hate the whore. I'm saying the UN. Bring her to ruin, leave her naked, eat her flesh, and consume her with fire. That's a Zona offering. That's what you would do in Leviticus 20 and 21. Okay, you have the ability to burn the high priest's daughter. So for some reason, the United Nations is related to a high priest's daughter. I don't know why. For God put in their hearts to do what will fulfill his purpose, that is to be of one mind, that's gnome again, mind concerning resolve, purpose, intention, like programming, to give their kingdom to the beast. And Therion is listed all the way through. Therion is basically a microscopic animal, but it could be microcomputing, okay, if that makes sense. But it's an animal-like thing. Until God's words have been accomplished, their intent, and the woman you saw was the great city. The UN in New York City that rules over the kings of the earth. Revelation 17, 16 through 18. Big tech seems to be the 10 horns. Okay. And so they're the billionaires. I don't know them. They're nice enough people. They're Mondo Gonzalez and Gary Stearman. They see it that way too. We're about 2-3 years onto this idea. It works. The big tech billionaires are building UN databases, which they will use these to control us. That's the way things come clear all of a sudden. Then you will realize how obvious They've been all along, Madeleine L'Engle. U.S. presidents since 1967 seem to be the king's heads, and they're kings, of course, on the mountains, Mount Rushmore, and the big tech billionaires are going to be the ones that get the power from these guys. It works. Profit, profit, profit. Number 10, El Elyon presents the mark of the beast. So I don't know why I put it there, because it's got to be 10. So you've got to have him being in the 10. Grok may soon get an unhinged mode from TechCrunch from January 8th, 2025. So he's talking about unhinged mode, where basically Grok is going to be like an amateur stand-up comic who is still learning the craft, but be able to be kind of creative in its own strange way. So compared to its predecessor, Grok 2 is more intuitive, steerable, versatile across a wide range of tasks, whether you're seeking answers, collaborating on writing, or solving coding tasks. He'll combine Grok with Neuralink, and you will have the ability to present the mark of the beast because he's El Elyon. Okay, that means he thinks, his family thinks he's the one on high. Okay, so we're ending it out. It's a long video. Stick with me. These are my comments about the nasty possibilities coming up. The UN in America, according to Dudeman, is Revelation 17. I'm saying that's the whore, specifically New York City, for allowing the UN to curse Israel. The list of the U.S. presidents in Revelation 17 are the ones that overtly loved Israel, but covertly allowed the UN to curse Israel. Trump will win in 2024. I said that for the last 6-8 months. I was correct. Okay, but I'm just reading Revelation 17. I'm not prophesying. I'm forthtelling, not foretelling. He will take office in 2025. Yeah, tomorrow. Communists will go nuts. King Charles will die probably this year. A solar micronova, a mohair micronova, which is a dust coating, and it's coming from the galactic current sheet, coinciding with a blood moon eclipse, should occur in 2025. It's due. It's the time frame. It'll be a wake-up call because it'll be like an EMP, an ELE, extinction level event. Riots first, then human chaos will ensue, inflation, more fires, more UFOs. Yeah, it'll be disclosed more and more. Tech battles for your brains, battles for your salvation. Yes, you'll have battles for your salvation. Nations will crave World War III, but they'll need to be rebuilding their infrastructure first. That will delay World War III for 7 or 8 years. Let's finish it out with 2 slides from this Natan boy from many, many years ago, 2015, 10 years ago. So he had a near-death experience in Jerusalem, and he met with the rabbis, and he stomped the rabbis with his brilliance. So after he died, he rose above the earth and saw a light that was full of love and security. He can't properly explain how amazing this was. Messiah was already here and very well known. So that means it's Yeshua. People will be very surprised when they realize it's Yeshua. The war of Gog and Magog started in September 11th, 2015. Spiritually, yes. It will get much worse in the weeks and months to come. October 7th, 2023 doesn't fit into any sequence, but it's just intriguing. It'll get worse, okay? There will be a huge world war that will eventually lead the nations of the world to unite and attack Israel and Jerusalem. The IDF withstands Gog only 2 days. That's coming up. The leader of the free world is now Gog. Gog is Barack Hussein Obama, according to Natan. Highly accurate. The whole war will last only about 2 weeks. That's at the point of the end, according to me. That's in brackets there. The Jews who do not keep the Torah will die. The number will be in the millions. This is in addition to the non-Jews who will also perish. Mount Zion will be split in two, and the Messiah will be revealed. Messiah will be able to sense by smell who is a real God-fearing Jew and who is not. One more slide. Messiah will fight against Gog and kill him. Gog will be buried in Israel. That's Ezekiel 39:12 or 11. During the war, 2 atomic bombs will be shot at Israel, and God will suspend them in the air for 2 weeks. They will eventually fall on Tel Aviv and Haifa. Israel will be captured, but the worthy will survive in Jerusalem. Messiah will wear a garment that is stained in blood, Isaiah 63. The blood symbolizes all the Jews who were killed while righteous. Messiah will then take revenge on the nations of the world who have oppressed us throughout the years. It will take a very long time to bury all the dead. Yeah, 7 months and 7 years. Only those who totally repent will survive. Those who repent will inherit the highest level of heaven. The holy temple will descend from heaven, and there will be a resurrection of the dead. This will take time and not happen immediately. It's a matter of months until the final redemption. We're in the months time frame. We're in the birth pangs. Probably the fourth seal, fourth horseman. We're not in the tribulation, not in the great tribulation. We're screaming about peace and safety. It's coming. Trump is coming. But that's going to bring an odd addition to peace and safety. And then we'll get into the bad things after that. You're working on a wedding. Clean garments. Can't be naked. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. What garments will you wear? It's a wedding. So get ready for it. Thank you very much for your time. Get ready for the wedding and work on your garments. Clean, not naked. Be blessed. God bless you. We'll talk to you hopefully in a week. Bye bye.